Okay, stolen cousin. You already know what time it is. In a minute, horror stories. In a minute, horror stories. You see it. Who are we with today? Our cousins. Which ones? SSG Animation. What we were doing with them? Three urban legend horror stories. And you know how the last one went? It was good. So you know how this one's gonna go. It's going to be good. We ain't got time to play. We ain't got time to jokey joke. We know what's coming. Okay? We do. And all I have to say is go subscribe. Go subscribe to your cousin's page. You know? Go over there and see them. You know what I mean? As well as go follow the Twitch at Elephant Chatting, please. And thank you. If you want to chat live, please join us. But yes, let's get into it. As I always say, if you want to, you feel free to go over there and subscribe over there. Why? Because you can watch it with me when you watch it with me. You can watch it with them when they upload it. And it's neither here nor there. I do not mind. Appreciate you both ways. Both, yeah, both ways. No matter where you go. But again, let's get into it. Please grab your blunts, grab a blanket, grab a bag of chips, and grab a bottle of water. Stay hydrated. Let's get up in here.
Back when I was a little girl, I lived in a small town in Michigan. In our town, there was a graveyard. Centuries ago, when the town was first established by the founding families, they had to evict all of the native gypsies living on the land. Amongst those gypsies were a few witches. Those witches did not want to move to a new place, so they tried to kill some members of the founding families. This was during the witch hunting period, and in their efforts to kill all the witches, the founding families burned alive an innocent gypsy woman. Unfortunately, they realized their mistake too late, and the woman had already burned to the ground.
She haunted
So,
them.
to honor their mistake, they buried the woman with great respect in a place which was later converted to be the town's graveyard. They got rid of all the witches, and our town was finally established. However, the woman's grave is the oldest one in the graveyard. Since that time, many people have seen the ghost of that woman in the graveyard, and it has become an urban legend, which is extremely popular in the town. People are forbidden from going into the graveyard unless there is a funeral in the town. It's said that whoever wanders into the graveyard at night and goes near that woman's grave will be sucked into the ground.
Can I just say, I hate people playing in graveyards, regardless. Like, I hate people that go there to smoke, go there to hunch, like, go there to drink, like, go there to party. I hate it. I hate all of it. Because what are you doing at a graveyard? Them people is dead. Stop playing. Not everybody died peacefully. They spirit be here roaming, and here you are just playing, and now they done followed you home. All right.
Graveyard at night and goes near that woman's grave will be sucked into the ground. This might sound like a far-fetched story, or maybe even something right out of a horror movie. But over the years, not one, but 3 people were found dead near that grave.
What are you doing
All
there?
of them
You
had
don't know the
snuck in there
story?
at night and died
What'd
of
I
a
say?
heart attack right by the grave. The gravedigger had found each one's dead body in the morning. I still remember my mother telling my brother and me to stay as far away from the graveyard as possible. But what can I say? Not many kids are very good at listening to their parents. Certainly,
good.
I wasn't. But
I was
now
a
that I
good
look back at
listener.
it, I
Still am.
regret my decisions. So back then, I had 3 very close school friends. Heather, Missy, Gloria, and I were
All right.
inseparable. We did
Check,
almost
click.
everything in school together. We had mostly the same classes, and we enjoyed the same things. We had a custom that once every month we would have a sleepover at one of our houses.
Y'all about to try to have a sleepover at the motherfucking haunted graveyard? Dumbass kids. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I started watching horror stuff as a kid. And then my family's big on fuck around and find out. So those two mixes, ain't no need to fuck around and find out nothing about no haunted nothing. Mm-mm.
We had a custom that once every month we would have a sleepover
And
at
I
one
can
of our
tell you some
houses.
creepy shit.
Our
too.
parents knew about our friendship and were always glad to host the sleepover.
But I'll do one of those on like a vlog. Tell me about yourself type stories. Cause what? I do believe in spirits and stuff. Why? Cause everybody has their own stories, and if you've seen The Spirit or two, and then you also love horror stuff, not everything be a lie. Cause ain't no way.
One of our houses. Our parents knew about our friendship and were always glad to host the sleepover.
How
Now, you see, I lived beside a lake, so it was always fun to swim a bit in the afternoon after school and relax in my house for the rest of the day. Gloria lived by the park, so we got to play a lot in there with her dog. Heather's mom worked in the mall, so we got to go there whenever we had a sleepover at her house.
Okay, everybody got
Missy, on the other hand, lived across the town near the graveyard. So, every time we had a sleepover at her house, my mom used to tell me to avoid the graveyard at any cost.
Exactly.
That sleepover, however, things took a turn for the worst. Everyone amongst us 4 was competitive, especially Heather. She loved to show us how brave and strong she was,
She going down.
given the fact that she was taller than all of us and much healthy. She was naturally stronger than us petite girls. However, that day, we did not agree that Heather
to
was
die.
the bravest. I have seen the Evil Dead thrice, and I did not get scared one bit the 3rd time, Gloria said.
Okay, good. shit.
That's because by then, you already know when the scary part is, so it isn't scary anymore, Missy corrected her.
True.
Well, my grandpa told me all the horrific wartime stories, and I did not get nightmares that night after listening to him, Heather said.
Mm-hmm. And that's real stuff.
That's because you snuck into your mom's bed that night,
How
I
you
said.
know?
And
Bitch.
everyone started to laugh at Heather. She was also the quickest-tempered one of us all.
Oh, so she tried to fight?
Oh, yeah, Bella, you think you are the bravest. So tell us, what is the bravest thing you have ever done? Heather asked. Well, I killed a lizard the other day, and I am no longer afraid of spiders and cockroaches.
Yep, that's
I was proud of myself, and given the fact that all 3 of my friends could never go near a lizard, spider, or cockroach, concluded that I was the bravest.
Mm-hmm.
Bravery is not always about watching ghost movies or listening to war stories, you know. I was a tad bit arrogant to my friends, too, that day. None of them had anything to say after that. I mean, what would 12-year-old girls say to the statement I made? Why don't we see who is the bravest amongst you both? Gloria said. Whoever can sneak out of Missy's house after bedtime and touch the cursed grave and come back would be the bravest. For some odd
hell
reason,
no.
I felt compelled to prove myself. Sure, I'm in. Ghosts aren't real anyways, so I don't need to be afraid anyways, I declared. I'm in too, and I will go first, Heather replied. And that's how it was decided.
She ain't
That
gonna
after
go
Missy's
for real.
mom
She
put
gonna
us to
come
bed,
back.
we would sneak out and visit the graves, one by
Hope they
one.
don't go for real.
That night, Heather snuck out of Missy's bedroom window and walked away towards the graveyard. I could tell that she was scared, but was trying to hide it. But I was ready to back off. Now that I think about it, I should have backed off. We saw Heather cross the street and walk a few blocks towards the graveyard. She had the walkie-talkie with her, so she could inform us when she reached the grave. It should have taken her no more than 20 minutes. But knowing Heather, there was a good possibility that she would take more time just to mess with us. Missy and Gloria constantly tried to talk to her through their walkie-talkie. For a while, Heather replied, and told us where she had reached and how long she would need.
Okay.
Finally,
pretend like
Heather
I'm
informed
there.
us through the device that she had reached the graveyard. We were all on high alert, waiting for her next update. But it never came. We waited for about half an hour more, but there was radio silence on Heather's side. It was as if she had disappeared into thin air. After what felt like an eternity, we finally decided to tell Missy's parents what had happened. Missy woke up her mother, and we three told them everything. This got them on high alert, and they called the cops. Missy's parents also called our parents, and soon the news that a schoolgirl had gone missing in the graveyard spread across the town like wildfire. The cops went to the graveyard, and there they found the most gruesome scene. Heather's dead body lay just beside of the grave of the woman. Her mouth was open, and her eyes were dilated and wide. There, a few meters away, lay her broken walkie-talkie. The cops sent her body for post-mortem, and the three of us were called in for questioning at the police station.
Yeah, because y'all.
I was damn sure that I was going to jail, as I had provoked Heather to agree to do something so wild. The post-mortem report said that Heather died of a heart attack, probably caused due to sudden fear or shock. By then, the news had spread that the dead woman had claimed another life, this time an innocent child. However, when the detectives did some digging into the case, they concluded that Heather was not killed, or, so to say, claimed by a ghost. Rather, when she had visited the grave, she had touched it. At that moment, she was on high alert and scared. When she tried to walk away from the grave, her dress got tangled with a rotten nail poking out from the ground. At that moment, she thought the woman had grabbed her dress and was trying to pull her into the ground. So instead of looking for what was truly wrong, she panicked and was so scared that she died of a heart attack. No one was charged for her death, but we all felt pretty guilty for what had happened. Soon, we moved out of town, and I never looked back. However, many people in the town still think that Heather was killed by the woman's ghost itself. The nail was just a tool. What do you think? Is the urban legend of the graveyard true, or a myth made up by people?
If you ever see a woman dancing all alone in a dark alleyway, you run.
Why would I be in a dark
My
alleyway?
life in Siberia is good, or was good, should I say. I had a job, a house, and a family to support. My job is a hectic one. I work as a mechanical engineer in a company, and most of the time I return home late, which means I have to drive home at night. Now, there had been a rumor going on in our neighborhood that many people had spotted a dancing lady on the streets who attacks people. Now, having a housewife and 2 kids who often socialize with the neighborhood means that these rumors had reached my home too. It was often a topic of discussion at our dinners, and my wife Mary always suggested I be safe. Now, let me tell you, I was a man of science, and I didn't believe in rumors, let alone about a dangerous dancing lady. This had almost become some fancy urban legend in our town. Some kids even dressed as this so-called dancing lady for Halloween.
No.
I always took it lightly as just
Never
another horror
thought.
story created by bored people to entertain themselves. Nothing more.
Like,
Moreover,
right,
my
right
job was pretty hectic, which didn't allow me time to entertain all these stories. My next-door neighbor was Bob. Bob worked in my company too, so most of the time we had similar work hours. Bob had a wife who was close with Mary and 2 daughters who were in school with my kids. One evening I got home early, but Bob had to stay late due to some issues. That night around 2 a.m., we heard a loud scream.
Oh, no.
As we went out to check, we saw Bob lying down on the street with a knife in his arm. He was bleeding out and slipping in and out of consciousness. By the time his wife and us got him to the hospital,
He
Bob
died.
had passed out. Our neighborhood was pretty safe, so we had no clue who might have attacked Bob. When he was treated and conscious in the hospital the next day,
Okay.
the first thing Bob's wife and I asked him was who attacked him. The dancing woman, Bob said in a pale voice. We could see that this attack had scared poor Bob badly. He clearly needed time to recover. However, I didn't believe Bob at all. I was damn sure that the dancing lady was nothing more than an urban legend, a fake story.
Stop it for a damn moment.
I was pretty sure some thug might have taken advantage of Bob returning home late and attacked him for money. However, Bob was persistent and insisted that it was the dancing woman. Bob, unlike me, didn't drive a car to work. He took the public bus, which dropped him a few blocks away from our neighborhood. He usually walks the rest of the way home, be it day or night. We just prayed that Bob would recover faster and return to work soon. My wife, however, was convinced that the dancing lady had attacked Bob and was too worried about the same thing happening to me. I reassured her that I used my own car, so no one would attack me while commuting from work. Days passed without any reported incident or sighting of the dancing lady, and Bob had resumed working. However, now he took his car instead of the bus, as he was terrified after what had happened. I, on the other hand, knew that the dancing lady was all a sham. Only, it wasn't. They say people who are possessed do weird stuff. They crawl up the walls, have super strength, speak languages they have never learned, and attack people too. I never believed in any of this. I always thought it was a mental condition, nothing more. So that day, when one of the machines malfunctioned, I had to stay late to fix it and get it working again. I knew I would get home late, which meant my family would be in bed after dinner. I pulled out my car from my company's parking lot and started driving back home. It was around 1 a.m. when I was a few blocks away from our neighborhood and my car broke down. One of the back tires was punctured and I didn't have a spare one with me. So I decided to lock my car and leave it on the road for the night. I would come back to fix it the next day and change the tire. As I mentioned, our neighborhood was safe and no one would touch my car. I was about 2 blocks away from my home when...
You said that, but you also said Bob just got fucked up. And you don't believe it's the dancing lady? You don't know who it is? You think it's some thugs. So you don't make no damn sense. You should have just sat in your car and probably called Bob. I'm sure he would have came and got you. Or called your wife. She would have called his wife and asked him, and he would have came and got you. Y'all ain't got no cabs? Probably not, but like, everywhere got cabs.
In the distance, I saw a person standing wearing a long, dark coat. To be honest, it was a bit warm to wear that sort of coat, but who was I to judge? As I walked closer, I saw that the dark figure hadn't moved an inch, and that it was a woman. Now, usually I would ignore strangers at night, but I was a bit worried when I noticed that it was a lady. Did she need help? Was there something wrong? All sorts of questions popped into my mind as I walked closer to the lady. Then suddenly, she weirdly angled her hands and legs and started dancing with her back to me. Oh boy, it seemed like the dancing lady wasn't an urban legend, but a reality. But it could also be someone trying to prank the passers-by, right? So I made a very bold and very stupid decision to approach the dancing lady. Hello, miss. Do you need any help? As soon as I uttered those words, she turned, and I saw the most terrifying face. Her eyes were red. Her maroon lipstick was smudged. Her hair was knotted and weird. Her face was bony, like a skeleton. At that moment, I realized that I was in deep, deep trouble, and if I didn't react fast enough, I might as well die.
You gonna hit her?
Because out of nowhere, the woman got a knife in her hand, and she was chasing me down the street. I abandoned my suitcase on the road and ran for my life. She was fast and was running after me. She was making weird sounds, growling sounds like that of a possessed person. I somehow reached my house, but before I could get in, she stabbed the knife in my back. I screamed and collapsed on my porch. Minutes later, the whole neighborhood was out, helping me. I didn't know what happened to the lady as she had disappeared into thin air after attacking me. My wife and my neighbors took me to the hospital, and the last thing I remember were the blood-soaked hands of my wife wiping her tears. When I was awake in the hospital after 3 days of being unconscious, I too, like Bob, was persistent that the dancing lady had attacked me. That's when I saw one of my neighbors being skeptical about my story, just as I was, all those months ago. Although I survived the attack, I learned that it's always better to listen to others, no matter how bizarre their stories might be. Moreover, keep an open mind when it comes to urban legends, because they might be true after all.
Hi, this is Jackie. I'm 30 years old now. I'm a nurse by profession.
Okay.
Today I'll share some horrible memories of an incident that took place when I was 23 years old and I was a newly married person in my team. It was my first day on the job. I met all my colleagues there, and it was a well-spent day for me. Several workers were very sweet by nature. On the second day, I met Shane. It was his first day at work. We both were new and became friends soon.
Okay.
He had a good nature and a pure heart. We used to share lots of memories as well and spend lots of time together. One day, Shane asked me to come with him to his house because he was alone at home and so was I. It was around 8 p.m. when we reached his house.
Okay.
I had decided to do a night stay in his house as my wife was out of the city for 2 days. Shane was very happy. I didn't know why, but I could see the extreme happiness on his face. He offered me a drink and cooked my favorite dish. I could see the change in his behavior, like the way he was behaving and treating me like his real brother. I thanked him. Later we went to bed to sleep. But I didn't understand one thing. Why was he touching the back of his neck again and again? It was around 2:30 a.m. I didn't know why I couldn't sleep that night. I was feeling very strange and dizzy that day. I was feeling great anxiety and was feeling restless at night. Suddenly, I opened my eyes and I saw a figure coming at me.
It's him?
I got scared and got up, and then I noticed it was Shane.
Yeah.
He was constantly staring at my stomach with a weird and creepy smile. He was staring with his wide eyes. Shane. What happened, Shane? Are you okay? Are you kidding me? I'm scared, Shane.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Suddenly, I felt the changes in my room. Not only in the room. His body was looking different, thin, yellowish, and bony. His eye color was changed to dark green. I got horrified and froze for minutes. He was continually touching the backside of his neck. Shane started whispering to himself. No, 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 let him go. Let him go. I was wondering what happened to him. I tried to run away from there, but I wasn't able to even move my hand at that moment. I fell unconscious. I don't remember what happened that night after that, because I woke up in the morning by 7 a.m. It was Sunday. When I woke up, I found myself in the hall on the sofa. I immediately got up and picked up my bag from the table. As soon as I was about to leave his house, suddenly Shane appeared in front of me, but I ignored him and walked away from there. I wasn't feeling well that day. Then my wife called me and told me about her pregnancy. I was so excited to hear that. My happiness knew no bounds at that moment. I was so happy that I forgot about the previous night. The same day, I called my wife again and told her everything.
Okay.
She said that might have been my illusion because sometimes we don't feel well at someone else's place. I knew that it was not only an illusion of mine. I decided to know the reason behind the terrifying behavior of Shane, but I was completely scared by his behavior. I was even afraid of talking to him. Then the next day he came to my house. We both were standing outside the house. He started crying and apologized. He was saying sorry again and again. Please forgive me. I don't know what happened that night. Please forget that. Okay. Don't sweat it, Shane. It's fine. It's okay.
Oh.
Well, I forgave him. Now everything seemed fine. At night, I was watching TV with my wife when our doorbell rang. As I opened the door,
Shane.
it was again Shane. He was holding a chocolate box. Hey, surprise! Shane,
What do you want?
it's really late. So what? Won't you let me in, friend?
No.
Yeah, sure. Come inside and meet my wife. He gave the chocolate box to my wife. For you, ma'am, and congratulations on the pregnancy. I was very confused. Shane was being over-friendly. And how did he get to know about her pregnancy? But I couldn't push him away from my house.
Yes, you
Well,
could.
I didn't ask. We were all sitting. He was constantly putting his hand behind his neck. And Shane was staring at my wife's stomach. Maybe he knew about her pregnancy before, but how was it possible? Several things were coming to my mind, and I became very scared. Next day when I went back to work, I didn't see Shane anywhere. It was my birthday, and I had decided to do a small celebration with my colleagues.
Okay.
I forgot about those things and enjoyed that day with them. I cut the cake, talked with my colleagues, and drank juice, etc. But I didn't notice Shane anywhere. I was worried about him. I asked Noah, one of my colleagues, where Shane was. He said that he had no idea. So after I had just finished talking to Noah, I saw Shane passing through the door. I went to greet Shane with a piece of cake. When I entered the room, Shane wasn't there, but I searched for him to give him this piece of cake. Suddenly, he came from behind. Oh, Shane! You scared me. Here you are. I searched the whole room, but here you are. Take your cake. I'm very happy for you.
Why are you
God
crying?
bless you, Jackie. May you get all the happiness of life. He started crying, trembling, and making faces. Whenever I remember that incident, my soul trembles with fear. I still remember his creepy look, which always really unsettles me. It sends chills down my spine still. Shane,
'Cause what's wrong with
Shane,
him?
what happened? Shane didn't react. He kept crying and said, You should have not left me like that day. I don't have any friends. I thought you were the only one who I could trust. But I was wrong.
Boy.
I mean, what the hell? Why? The sudden changes in his behavior were possibly the most disturbing thing I had ever noticed in him. Shane? Are you okay? Lights suddenly started fluctuating, and the door behind closed automatically. He was constantly putting his hand behind his neck. He was shouting and continuously rubbing his neck. He just turned around, and I saw that Shane had a big wound on the back of his neck. It was as if he was blocking someone from coming out of him. Within no time, a terrible demon came out of his neck, and my soul trembled. How could this happen? Shane kept saying, No, I can't. Not again. He is my friend. Seeing all that, my heart trembled.
You got a
I
bad
couldn't
vision,
understand what was happening. He looked horrible and disturbed. His terrifying face, green eyes, and bloodied body was giving me an unsettling feeling. Suddenly, a demon-like woman emerged from his wound, which was attached to his body. That demon spoke.
I want his unborn baby too.
No.
You will do it for me.
No.
Do it now.
No.
Suddenly, that demon-like attached woman started choking my neck before I could understand anything at that moment.
What do you mean
I
before you
tried
can
a lot
understand
to
anything?
free myself, but it was not possible. Shane, Please, leave me. Leave him, please. He is so good.
So let him go, boy.
He won't. He will die.
I won't let you do this. Shane climbed on the wall. The demon screamed.
Let me take down, or I will hurt you too.
You gonna hurt him too?
I tried to run away from there, but the demon forced him to hurt me, and he pulled my hair. I started screaming loudly. No, Shane! It's not you, Shane! I know the real Shane! It isn't you! Leave him!
I don't think he even knows
Leave
the real
him! He was whispering to himself. Leave Jackie. He's innocent. How can you do this to him? Leave him! Leave him! He controlled himself and said to himself, I will not let you do this any more. Leave my body. You have been with me for 2 years, and now I will not let all this happen. He
Boy, how many
finally
people have you been
shouted
killing in 2
loudly,
years?
Leave! And his body exploded like a bomb that day and then vanished. I was terrified and shocked. No sign of him remained there. What type of demon was that? To this day, I still don't know.
You just stayed. I'm sorry, y'all. A friend of mine had a baby. I was gonna be like, oh my god. So yeah, that last one was definitely lengthy. You know? Last one was definitely lengthy. It says 3. That's what I was looking because I was like, they said 3, but I could have sworn it was just 2. Oh no, it was 3. We had the cemetery, which I don't understand why y'all be playing with cemeteries. Had the damn dancing lady, and then that last lengthy one. And it wasn't even an urban legend, it's just old boy being haunted, you know? But the first one is probably my favorite. The first one's my favorite for the storyline because y'all set that girl up. If y'all ain't like her like that, y'all should have just said that. Y'all ain't had to kill her. Y'all know people go there and don't come back. And then to go one at a time, knowing that someone's gonna die, the first one to die ain't coming back. You know what I mean? That, and then yeah, I like that one for that. Number 2, I liked because old boy was talking big shit. I don't believe. You don't believe until it's you that's getting stabbed in the back and chased down. Oh, now you want to believe because you got stabbed. Sir, you got stabbed in the back. I would believe too. I definitely would. Yeah, so I think those 2 are my favorite. Number 3 is good too. It was good, but it was definitely just lengthy. Like, why is this guy haunted? He's just been possessed for 2 years. Like, he's been killing people for 2 years, or nah. Why he wants his girl unborn baby? You know, I just need more. But I love you guys. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments. Like I said, I like 1 and 2. And until next time, you guys, bye bye.